What is good? So welcome back. We got exciting times ahead. Short mini cut starting today. Reason being, a little bit too fat right now. So we're gonna be going fairly aggressive. I'm gonna walk you guys through 4 of my cutting meals today. So calories, we're at about 2,700 as of last week. Dropped down pretty hefty drop to 2,000. So decent drop in food. Now no changes to expenditure. So the step goal still 9,000 to 10,000 steps a day, which pretty soft. That'll likely increase, honestly. I'd rather increase steps than lower food, to be honest, because I'm expecting hunger to creep up, especially on 2,000 calories. So with that said, adopting an intermittent fasting approach right now. Little adjustment to the routine. So wake up around 6, take my L-carnitine and my GH secretagogue blood to help kind of mobilize fatty acids and then oxidize the fatty acids. Super sciencey, but basically those two help with fat loss in a fasted state. So you got to be fasted for those to work. So during that fasted window, I'll do my steps, which has unfortunately migrated inside because it's just dark and miserable outside when I want to do them. Canada man, got to get out of here ASAP. But good thing, got a treadmill in the building. Anyway, then I'll get back, have my morning shake, which I'm gonna make right now. The morning shake consists of glutamine for the gut lining. Colostrum, again, is great for the mucosal lining of your gut, but also great for the immune system, since 75% of the immune system is housed in our gut. Then we got Mr. Brian Johnson's Cocoa, honestly, just because it tastes good, and it doesn't hurt to have some additional polyphenols. Revive's Daily Green, I'll throw in about 10 grams of creatine, big fan of at least 10 grams of creatine per day, and Sun Fiber, to keep the fiber count up as calories get lower as well. All right, gonna get this shake down, likely on the balcony because the sun's finally coming out. I haven't seen the sun in like 2 days, which is nice. So gonna get this down, then coffee shop, get some client work done. Of course, we got some nootropics on board today. Nothing crazy, not a crazy stack, just some L-tyrosine, some saffron, lion's mane, of course, and then some alpha GPC. So I will see you guys at meal 1. Alright, so the time is now 12, just got done a bunch of good work, which is pretty awesome. I love being fasted. I feel like it just locks me in so much more with the combination of nootropics, caffeine, nicotine gum. Gotta be mindful of the stims though, especially in a fat loss phase. Don't want to do too much, especially when you're trying to manage the nervous system. Too much sympathetic drive, not ideal for fat loss. So anyway, meal number 1, also the pre-workout meal. So I'm gonna train about hour and a half after I eat this. So we got 2 eggs, 100 grams of egg whites, 50 grams of spinach. Then I also like to put some sauerkraut on top. For this meal, I go with sauerkraut in terms of fermented foods. Next to, I'll go kimchi as well. Then we got the diet hack of diet hacks. Basically eating chocolate cake when you're dieting. So we got cream of rice, chocolate cake flavor by Elevate, the brand Elevate, best cream of rice I've ever had. With 100 grams blueberries, 60 grams raspberries, and then 20 grams of raw honey. So cinnamon on top, pumpkin spice in there as well. Got half a teaspoon on salt for this meal, and then every meal throughout the day. So about 5 grams of total sodium per day. And then I have about 5.5 grams of potassium to at least have a little more potassium, if not a 1-to-1 ratio of potassium and sodium throughout the day. Got the subs, staples of this meal, multivitamin, NAC, magnesium, omega-3s, and urolithin A. So gonna eat this, then make the intra, make the pre, stretch out a little bit because my upper back has been driving me nuts lately. I think it's the posture at the coffee shops, to be honest. Just sitting there, the chairs aren't too comfortable. So definitely gonna do some mobility work before I head to the gym. All right, just before we head into the gymnasium, little talk on mini cuts. So the whole point of a mini cut is to just get in and get out. So you want to be in a deficit as little time as possible. The whole goal being just to pull off as much body fat as you can in a short period of time, resensitize your insulin sensitivity, to then get back into a surplus and then continue growing, at least for me at the moment, and then potentially a proper cut during summertime. So that's how we're looking. Now, how to set your own mini cut up if you are in a bulk and you want to take off some body fat pretty quickly. First, you want to kind of establish where your maintenance calories at. So you don't need to be 100% with this, especially if you've been eating in a surplus for quite a while. but a rough idea would be good. So let's say you're eating a surplus, you're gaining 0.25 to 0.5% of your body weight per week, which is the rate of gain I suggest. If you're there, you could drop down to a couple weeks and spend time at maintenance, or you could just factor that in calculating your maintenance. Let's say you're eating 2,700 calories like I was, gaining around 0.25 to 0.5% of your body weight per week. You could roughly estimate your maintenance is around 26, potentially 25, 50 calories. So that's where you start. It's important throughout this process though to keep your steps at a baseline or cardio and hold that there for the start of your mini cut. I don't generally increase expenditure right away because it's less predictable than nutrition. So for a mini cut, we want to go pretty aggressive. We want to lose about 1% of your body weight per week. And that's pretty steep already. Now, if you're only going to run a mini cut for 2 to 3 weeks instead of, in my case, 6 to 8 weeks, by the way, maximum I'd run a mini cut at this steep rate of loss. Because if you need to pull off more body fat than you can in 8 weeks, you should probably just periodize a proper fat loss phase. But a 2% rate of loss per week is fine if you're going more aggressive, just a 2 to 3 weeks, get in, get out. So training during a mini cut, because we have less food coming in, we have less recovery capabilities, we don't necessarily want to be training at the same volume and intensity as we were in our surplus. So training has been brought down to maintenance volume, just above, so like minimum effective volume if you're getting super sciencey with it. So right now that's like 8 sets per body part for me, and I'm also training 1 to 2 reps in reserve on every set because the goal isn't really to add tissue right now, it's just to retain all the tissue, minimize fatigue, and strip off body fat. So you don't need to be doing more in the gym, especially when you have a lot less recovery, so a lot less food coming in to be able to recover from that training. Then expenditure wise, keeping steps where they're at. I wasn't doing any cardio in my gaining phase when I was in surplus, so I'm not going to be adding in cardio because cardio comes with its own set of fatigue, and if your body wasn't adjusted to that, then adding it in when you're trying to mini cut, not a great idea, because it's just going to be extra fatigue, and the whole goal is to minimize fatigue, because you don't want to build up a ton of fatigue in this next 6 to 8 weeks and then ruin setting up your next growth phase, which is the whole point of this. So steps kept at 9 to 10K per day for me, and that might increase to potentially 12,000 steps per day at the max. But again, you're working that line there. You just want to get in, get out with as little fatigue as possible. Now on the cool stuff, some subs we can add in to further enhance our fat loss, which I'm definitely taking advantage of. One being L-carnitine. Just an amino acid, helps shuttle fat into the mitochondria to then be oxidized. So that fasted. Then a GH secretagogue blend, which helps with lipolysis, help free up fatty acids to then you have. So now you're freeing up fatty acids in the morning, then you're taking the L-carnitine to help shuttle those fatty acids into the mitochondria to then be oxidized during your fasted steps. So those two only work fasted, which is a big point. Presence of insulin, so if you eat anything, it's going to blunt those effects. So you don't want to do that. Also, if you're going to take yohimbine or ribosine as well, same rules apply for those. And then in terms of peptides and whatnot, I'm not really using any right now. I was going to use the mitochondrial enhancement stack, but still a little iffy right now because I did do a recent myotoxin test, and I've been working through, like if you go scroll back way back, one of my rest day videos, I was doing ozone therapy to help with I had mold toxicity, so still have a little bit present. So you don't necessarily want to ramp up mitochondria production when there's a mycotoxin in the system, because those are just poisoning the mitochondria. So you're just creating more mitochondria, but then you're leaking more oxidative stress, which just burden on the system. So you're gonna feel good for a bit, and then you're just gonna get hit real bad because of the oxidative stress. So not messing around with any of those. So just a practical setup to how to set up your mini cut. So if you want 1 pound rate of loss per week, you're gonna look at a 500 calorie deficit per day. We know roughly a pound is 3,500 calories. If you wanna lose 2 pounds per week, you're looking at 1,000 calorie deficit per day. So I would pull all of that from food. So in a gaining phase, you should be working your food up slowly, which gives you lots of room. So let's say you've been working your food up for a while, you're at 3,000 calories. Boom, for the next 6 weeks, you're just gonna eat 2,000 calories. You're gonna keep your steps expenditure the same, and you should drop body fat pretty damn fast. So just to summarize, mini cut around 2 to 8 weeks max. The whole goal being to get in and get out, drop off as much body fat as possible in a short period of time without accumulating too much fatigue that will negatively impact your next growth phase. So enough waffle, let me finish my pre, and then we'll go train.
If I could do it, then work on you. Get up and make it work.
Yo,
If I could do it, then why can't you? Get up and make it work. Ain't no way that I'm sitting around. It's now or never, I'm picking it first. You can't tell me that I won't make it. Knew that I had the skill since birth. Grinding, came out the mud like Roddy. I had no body, I came from dirt. Still came fuck, I put in the work. Pinning a picture when I write lyrics. Don't call me a rapper, I'm really an artist. This weren't by chance or luck. I took one shot and I hit my target. I'm not even yet in my prime, I'm not at 100, yeah, I'm still charging. They don't wanna see me win, but I know in the end I'm winning regardless. Sleepless nights, I was up in the stew, up in the booth.
Yeah, inside the thing them called Sweet Melody Wap, girl, you coming like a friend, you know. Yeah, inside the thing them called DC's again.
All right, session done. We got the post-workout meal, which is pretty much a staple. Right now, I'm just trying to maximize my time efficiency, so I kind of just prep like all my meat sources. So my chicken's cut, ready to go. Potatoes are cut, ready to go. And then green beans are the only things that I kind of just throw in the pan. So everything's ready. I just toss the chicken and green beans in the pan, cook them up. Potatoes in the air fryer. They come out super crispy, super nice, and meal's ready to go. I'm also already got my rice cooking for my third and fourth meal. So yeah, all about time efficiency. Now post-workout subs, we got rhodiola. I'm a big fan of rhodiola because it'll help balance out cortisol and also help offset some fatigue from training, like more mental fatigue, so I can still get some work done. If you do find you're trained, especially after like a leg day and you're super foggy, you're just out of it, rhodiola, big one, that'll help. And then 200 milligrams of magnesium I take post-workout as well. So I'll take 200 milligrams my first meal, 200 post-workout, and then 400 pre-bed as well. And I'll do my my sleep stack because I made some iterations to it since the last time I put it on here. So yeah, gonna get this meal down. Watch, I think Joe Rogan just released a pod with some guy talking about the Atlas, whatever, the thing that's in space, if it's coming to hit us or something, or if it's some aliens or whatnot. Watch the Joe Rogan with, finished it, him and Elon this morning. Quite the interesting conversation on the whole funding and Doge, pretty wild stuff. So yeah, gotta get the daily politics in. All right, we got third meal of the day. Super simple, jasmine rice, banana, top sirloin, and some kimchi. So keeping it nice. Honestly, this meal slaps. I cut up the sirloin and then I'll throw it in the air fryer. So it's like steak bits almost. They're super crispy, super good. It's almost like caramelized on the outside. Then what I'll do is I'll throw everything back into the pan. So the rice, bananas. So the bananas get caramelized as well with a little bit of avocado oil. Absolutely slaps. Also, big fan of the app State. So there's a Feel Calm exercise. It's basically, I've worked my way up to 3 minutes, but it's you start off at 2 minutes, guided breath work. And basically I'll do that before every single meal to get me into that rest and digest state before you eat, because yeah, parasympathetic state is where you want to be. Like honestly, the majority of the time, other than like when you're training or doing something super cognitively demanding. But it is super valuable to do pre-meals, get in that state so you can actually digest your food. Like if you're in a super stressed out state, this is why they say don't eat in the same place you work, because your brain associates that with work, which could be stressful. So yeah, just a super simple tip, super simple thing to do. It just takes 2 minutes and will massively improve your digestion. All right, in quite the time crunch, my boy Cardi's coming to pick me up at, well, in 25 minutes. So I gotta whip this up, eat it real quick. We're going to the Chris Williamson live event, so pretty hyped for that. But nevertheless, last meal of the day is 170 grams chicken breast. Then we got, both meals were 45 grams of raw weight jasmine rice. So 45 grams jasmine rice, 200 grams cucumber, and then 200 grams pineapple. So pretty banging meal to end the night off. This will become Ninja Creamy soon as calories get lower. Ninja Creamy slaps, quite the diet hack. But I also like to reserve it for my rest days, so I'll have Ninja Creamy like, 3 times a week, which is perfect, because I find if you overdo the sweetness, like you're chasing the sweetness and the volume, that can lead to just making the diet miserable, because you're just craving that sweetness and volume, especially if you dump like stevia and a whole bunch of shit. So I'm gonna cook this up and then head out. Good morning. About to have the espresso and then get some fast steps done. But little recap on the Chris event. was quite awesome, to be honest. So much information, so many insights that still kind of piecing them together. That plus just it ended quite late, so 5 hours of sleep. So I'll probably be able to digest it a little bit better in the next couple days. But yeah, it was quite awesome. Any Chris Williamson fans out there in the comments, let me know. It was pretty sick. Ton of insights. I was gonna buy a tee, but it was in USD, and then they're also shipping it from the States, so shipping was like pretty ridiculous from the States too. So unfortunate. I love my merch, but couldn't get that. Anyway, that wraps up the full day of eating. First day on the mini cut, so gonna vlog next week, see where we're at weight wise, how much weight we dropped, and I will see you then. Appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.